draw everything myself. To look back and go, wow, I couldn't outline and now I can and now I understand how it works is huge. Because people tend not to understand, because the less you know about the subject, the easier you think it is. Outlining is exceptionally difficult. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing. That I will say. Anything is better than nothing. If you want to draw with your thickest black marker and it covers up 90% of your drawing, that is better than nothing. Also, I have finished destroying this keyboard. It's time to actually enter the sponsored segment for a second. Here is the Echo Purple Creamy Switches. I'm so excited to open these. If I can. There we go. They have such nice boxing all the time. Every time. There we go. Da-da-da-da. Look at it. It's beautiful. This is beautiful. I know, right? Wowie. I will say, I'd never mean to destroy packaging, but I'm really good at it. Thank you, Echo, for sponsoring this stream. Thank you for sending me out not 1 but 2 boxes of these switches so I can redo my nice stocky keyboard. And in fact, I can maybe use these for my next keyboard. If we want to hear them in comparison to my current ones I had in, they're a little bit clickier. As these are very quiet switches. To be fair, I can barely hear these ones. But we're going to pop them all in and see how it sounds. This is on a wood base, which will change how it echoes within the frame, but there you go again. Let me pop these down. And are we ready to get started? I am. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So cool. I have never been sponsored before, so I hope they're happy with me and I hope they think it's cool with how I've managed the stream. I understand, yeah, it did go on a tirade, but it was at least an interesting tirade. 1. 2. I'm still using my 2012 Logitech Rubber Dome keyboard, lol. Amazing! I love Logitech as well. My mouse is one. Their keyboards are very good, I will admit. They don't have as much customization as I like. Which is why I do genuinely buy most of my stuff from Echo. Thank you guys. They are amazing with what they do. I think they're actually extremely affordable and everything does deliver really fast. So I'm over the moon to work on this. But they deliver very timely. They have a wide range of switches, customizability. If you've never built a keyboard before, they do have sets for it. So if you want to learn, you can. It's amazing. Also, is my mic too loud? As a little question. Because I can see it keeps peaking. And if it is, that is fine. I can just turn down the gain a little. I've yet to fully finagle and set up, as I agreed to this before I had moved, and then it was a mad dash to get everything set up after I'd moved. Sounds fine, perfect. I'm so glad. Oh, it's so cool. Boop. I will say the pink goes very nicely with the wood. Question, this is a really hard question, but I do use AI to help me draw. But I use it to outline before I draw to make everything perfectly ratioed and contain the exact ratios of parts of the whole, then divide perfectly and so on. Is that necessarily bad? To go through it, it is not necessarily bad. But I will say, its perfect ratios are not perfect, and if you want to learn how to draw, it depends on what you're drawing. Because if you are drawing people, I'd say yes. I'd say drawing people with perfect ratios will lead you to stiffer drawings. It's good to have exaggeration. If you're learning it to do realistic fundamentals, I'd recommend short bursts. You can find websites for this all over the place, but it generates different poses, and I'd recommend, if you actually want to learn, looking at those ones and finding like really quick, I'd say limit your sketches to 5 minutes and just quickly sketch out the line of motion and where you are drawing. So the line of motion is, depending on how you pose, depends on where it works. So if I sit, let's say I don't sit, if I lean this way, my line of motion, because it's curving, will go like that. But that's not enough most dynamic pose. If I'm like this, my line of motion is horizontally down, right? I use it to find 4 equal distances of any outline, to find outlines, square, and 4 perspectives. What subject are you drawing within this instance? Is it a person? Is it, you know, a building? It depends, because I'll run through it quickly. Right, give me one moment. I'm gonna grab a sketch pad. Be 2 secs. Right. Every shape, no matter what shape, has 4 equal distance spots as its outline, thus you can always find 4 perspectives. I don't believe that's a good way to draw. If you want to draw that way, you can. Right, I'm going to show you some. So, this is a very rough perspective piece. It's relatively equal with the train and everything else, and this part's below. Movie setting, have a nice day. TPO. You have a great movie time. Right. This is a sidelong perspective. It has a point here that you draw from. If you want to be mapping out perspectives, you need to map out the point of view, the like ending lines. So the way I started out with this one is I put a point here and I drew out how all lines are going to look coming back the way and how all lines are going to look coming across the way. Right? This line comes down to show that it is going further away. That is how I'd recommend you draw that. Here I have another train. Top-down perspective, really easy, it's flat. Here's, a really rough sketch. I think I know where everything else is, but most people probably won't find it. This one's a fun one. I didn't do well in this perspective, but it's good to actually draw so your brain maps out where it is in future for you. Because if you rely on a tool to do it all the time, you won't be able to like learn in the way of figuring out how to do it yourself. You'll just then become overly reliant on said tool. So if you actually want to learn to draw, I'd recommend not actually using it, based on the fact that it doesn't allow your brain to map where things are. But it's completely dependent on what you're drawing, as I said. As a lot of shapes, when you want them to be round, you don't necessarily want to use it that way. That method works for very square shapes. For other ones, you're going to have to learn how to curve the line, which is quite often used when drawing circles. Circles are one of the best fundamentals you can learn how to draw well. Like, learn how to draw them, learn how to shade them, because shading is what gives you your depth, more than an outline. So, you know, it all depends. It technically works for all outlines. I understand that. It's just understanding it for you. And if it helps you originally learn, yes, but you need to also stop using it and see how you do without it. And if you're doing much worse without it, I'd actually recommend you do one with it and then you work towards being able to do that same shape without it, so then you can learn how that shape worked. Because shapes make up almost everything we draw. which is cool. You can break anything down into a shape, and I'm sure you know that. But by doing the basic fundamental with an AI as a helper, I think will diminish your ability to do it in general. I'm glad you don't use it all the time. The other reason I am so anti-AI is less about the AI and more about what it does to our planet. As I said, I have so many amazing uses where it should of course be in place. Mainly medicine. That's stuff humans could never do. But if it's something a human is capable of, I don't understand why you'd replace it with an AI when I think the human creativity and the human spirit and the human actually behind it is worth more. Because the only reason you do that is for capitalistic profit. And I believe a human life is more important than that. Like I said, it's mainly down to ethics, and a lot of the ethics is, you know, I think it's iffy for our environment, and I'd like to live on this planet, and I'd like future generations to live on this planet. Because, God, it's beautiful. And I'd like to continue it being beautiful. Do you know what Canvas of Babel is? Explain. I don't actually understand what that says. That is Babel to me. So, explain. I'm almost done with switches. The longest part of a keyboard is genuinely taking all of them out. The caps go quickly. The placement of replacing the switches go quickly. It's just removing them takes forever. But I'm so excited to see how it sounds with it all in. Like, it's gotta be phenomenal. And then once it's in, I'm gonna do a couple writing things. So speed tests. I warn you, my typing on this keyboard is slow. But it'll be good. In. Pop you in. Pop you in. Also, so Canvas of Babel is an app that contains random pixels and random colors, and because it's purely random by chance, at least once holds every drawing that could and can be made. It's the concept of the monkey with the typewriter. Yes. I understand. It is, if a monkey had forever with a typewriter, would he write Shakespeare by accident? And the answer is yes. What I say is the difference is the purpose behind it. If we're gonna go down a bit like that, I'm gonna guess and preempt something. If it's like, well, because it already holds every decided drawing forever, can any of it really be copyrighted or something along those lines? If I'm wrong, do correct. But my answer is yes, things will be copyrighted because it's finding it by accident. If I'm doing it on purpose, that's different. But if I have jumped the gun, please let me know. And there we go. Super. And one. Oh, this sounds nice. I really like the sound of this so far. It's a little bit poppier than it was before. But I think there's so much behind when you make things within a conscious effort. Because if I just sat down and every day decided to just put things in random places, it's still technically art, but I don't think it's the same. I think purpose makes a massive difference, and then interpretation is on top of that. Like, the original idea behind everything will change so much in the process of making it. It's part of what makes it interesting. Because I did in school this thing where you have to draw using 4 different mediums, 4 different parts of what would end up making your bigger piece. And within that, I didn't actually take enough time to sit down and think of what I wanted my bigger piece to look like in the end.